discussion and make it, or take action on approving the minutes from the Parks and Rec Commission meeting held on November 2nd, 2023. So we got the minutes. Anybody have any questions about anything on the minutes? Any discussion?
Nope.
All right.
I'll motion to approve.
Got a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved from our last meeting. On to B, receive a report and hold a discussion on the fiscal year 23-24 and a Denison on ice season summary.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commission. Appreciate the opportunity to go over last year's happenings with Denison on Ice. As you all know, this is a huge draw for our community. This is something that essentially we rehab a portion of our street and turn it into an ice rink. So it's a really special thing. This last year we had another record year. We had over 10,000 skaters as far as spectators go, over 2,000. So this year we had record visitation, over 13,000, with record highs of 6 days of being 350 or more participants. This year we had 13 special events. There were 35 states represented, 2 countries, and the District of Columbia. Expenses, $240,000, revenue $134,000, which gave us a loss of $107,000. That's not bad. We expect a loss every year. This is an amenity for our community, and this is also something where we can't always quantify. However, the economic draw year after year where people are going to restaurants, and as we already alluded to, there's a lot of visitation, typically from outside the Metroplex or outside Texoma from the Metroplex as well as Oklahoma. So we did a little math this year, and if we were to break down the expense per Denison resident using last year's figures, you're looking at a $4 cost per resident at that loss. And if you were to break that down a little bit more, that's 8 cents a day. If you were looking at just Grayson County, the numbers are even a little more favorable. So that's our update for this year's DOI season, and I am available for any questions y'all might have.
Planning on doing it in the future? And stick.
It is a good question because year after year, that is a consideration. Typically, there's a lot of stakeholder interest in this particular event, and we're having some transitions this year with council, and I know there's going to be probably thoughts about, well, what does that look like? We're actually probably already growing out of the area size-wise that we have right now. So that would need to be a consideration moving forward this next year. Staff's recommendation is that we consider maybe other areas if we're going to consider it on Main Street. One of the things we'd like to recommend is potentially the 100 block, since it just got re-asphalted. We'd have to put some different provisions there, and beyond that, we'd have to get various approvals. But I think that's kind of where our mind's tracking, not to say we couldn't have it in the same spot again this year, but with the development of Main Street and all that, those are all things that need to be considered in the ensuing years.
The special events, or is that like birthday parties and such like that? Is that what we're talking about, or like corporate events, or?
Yep, yeah, both. We have, just to throw out a few unique ones, we have like first responders a day. We have where the Disney princesses come out and they skate with participants. We have an adaptive day. Virginia, are there any that you know of off the top of your head?
Well, we did, not just the first responders, but hospital workers appreciation, teacher appreciation nights. We had themed nights.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I have the list. And do you guys have this in front of you? Okay, so the section where it says special days, event nights, that has the list. So the Superhero Day, Small Business Saturday, Jersey Day, Military Appreciation, Tropical Day, so on and so forth.
Deal. All right, anybody else? Anything? Thank you, Justin. All right, let's move on to item C. Receive a report and hold a discussion on the THF Park spring activities.
Yeah, we have THF Park as the centerpiece here. I'm not really going to tease out too much. That is where the bulk of our programs are, but overall, there's just a lot of activities going on. I think in front of you, you have the list of the THF Park events. You have a list of the new rec guide that's in front of you. We'll talk about that a little bit later, and then the annual list of activities as well. So what we're saying is this year, last year our big theme was Catch Us If You Can. This year is Catch Us If You Can 2.0 Champions Stride. The way I like to think about it, if you're track fans, I think a few of you may even coach, but if you remember in 2008, Usain Bolt, he not only shattered the 100-meter record in the Olympics, but he did so smiling and looking back, which never happens when you're running against the best athletes in the world. And that's how we think of ourselves here. We have a lot of momentum, and we're just going to keep pushing it. We have direction from y'all. We're following our Parks and Trails master plan, and we're not going to look back. We're just going to keep looking forward. So I think this presentation will show you what that looks like through our programs, projects, planning, and preventative efforts. The other thing, I'm not going to get into all parks and recreation activities and divisions, but I always like to remind anyone when I get an opportunity, we are beyond the traditional bat and ball sports and beyond the traditional sports fields. We have aquatics, cemeteries, the public library, and then parks and recreation. So there's a lot of things going on. Okay, so since October 1st, we've had 8 tournaments. With that, an average number of teams being 21, a little more than 21, that's the bat and ball sports, and then 23 soccer teams when we have a tournament. With that said, the key piece here is THF Park, but we also have tournaments in other spaces and areas. We've provided 27 regular provided programs. Those are, what I mean by that is you may have weekly programs. So you duplicate those numbers because that's not just that we had 27 activities, that's a regularly occurring program. We have had 28 events, so those would be like our signature events. Even though Denison on Ice is its own thing, we have other signature events that happen during that time. So there's a lot of happenings up here in Denison. The team has planned and is moving forward with 3 spring leagues. This does not include any reservations, so that's another set of metrics that we could go over. That's all I have for that, but I'm happy to tease out any particular program or request you might have for understanding of those activities.
How are we doing at Waterloo Pool with its maintenance issues?
Yeah, so I put that out right here. Project status. We met with Hewlett-Zollars, the engineering firm, I want to say it was September of last year. We got council approval to move forward with an engineering report where we had identified that structurally we need to rehab the structure of the pool. Council approved $2.4 million, not to replace the structure, but to improve those pieces that needed improvement. At that time, it was learned that we need to coordinate with a specialist that specifically deals with pool coverings. Hewlett-Zollars is a great engineering firm, but they even acknowledge that we need a little more insight into that process. So on April 1st, Monday, we have going to council a agreement. I don't see that there will be any issues with this. but the approval of the scope of design, and that will be with Brandon Corporation, working with Hewlett-Zollars so that we could get the timeline together to move forward with the rehab of that project. This is delayed a little longer than we had anticipated. With that said, we've had new standard operating procedures. We've only had to have one pool closure as a result of the high wind speeds. So just a reminder, we were to close the pool if wind speeds got 25 miles an hour or higher, and we have 3 different ways that we could identify the wind speed. The really neat thing we did learn is that where Waterloo Pool sits low, it blocks the wind, so we're pretty good. We always follow certain closure procedures and protocol if there's lightning and storms, intensified storms, so that's always going to be a regular occurring thing anyways. So operations really haven't been affected. I guess if we were to look at this positively, we'll probably close during a certain time of year when construction will be more manageable, to where we won't have most likely weather delays, which is typical in Texas if you do construction during certain times of the year. And then overall, programming has been fairly consistent. The only decline is the amount of available programs, and that's just because hiring lifeguards, we've had somewhat of a difficulty doing that as of late, but it hasn't been too significant. So did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else? Anything on that? All right. Move on to item D, receive a report and hold a discussion on recreation, marketing guides and leaflets and senior citizen activities.
Yeah, so we had some money set aside this year. I think we told you that we were really going to try to get the information out there so people really knew and understood what was going on, and that information would be available. So in front of you, you have your very own hard copy of the guide, as well as the annual listing of those activities. So it's your one-stop place to shop. You could hand those out. You could reference online. All this stuff is online. So anything and everything that someone may have questions on regarding parks and recreation, that's available. There's even a Parks Commission section in there, so you guys have your little spot as well. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I probably should have mentioned it with the last topic with our activities, you could see there's a lot of activities going on. We're going to request some help this year. We are probably going to need to go for RFP for certain activities and sports. There's just been more of a demand this year. As you could see with everything going on, there's been more of a demand from different vendors and people that are interested in providing, for example, sports. So we're at a point where we have to go out and get, cast a wide net, and they have to go through a certain process. So we were going to request, just like with the Parks and Trails Master Plan, if those of you that may be interested in helping with that process, just reach out to us directly, and we'd be glad to include you in that process. And then we may even present, if we get it done early enough, we may present some of those things to y'all during another commission meeting. That doesn't necessarily have to happen or be the case, but we at least wanted to provide you all that option if you wanted to partner with us on that. So that's all I have for this item. If there's any questions, I'm available as well.
Anybody? Okay, moving on. Item E, receive a report and hold a discussion on fiscal year 23-24 projects.
Since October 1st, we've had a lot of things going on. I'm not going to in-depth touch on anything, but just kind of give you a really high-level view. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions. Over here at the Katy Plaza, we've had implemented the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, the Never Forget Garden. The kickoff event was great. There was a lot of wonderful feedback. It's an attraction that people now can visit, and to our knowledge, it's the only one in our region. The only one that's of this scale is in Paris, Texas, is my understanding. That's fairly near. But it's basically a way that people can go and remember the soldiers that were fallen, fighting for our country, and maybe, some of them, unfortunately, they were out and they couldn't be found. So it's just a way to remember that. We may be connecting with some really top-notch professionals to enhance the landscaping in that area, so more to come. Katy Trail timeline, staff has met with TechStop personnel, our coordinators. That was to happen between January through March sometime. We actually were able to meet them, I think it was late January, maybe early February. Staff has also gone to TechStop trainings. When you receive the grant, it is a mandatory activity to go through these trainings with TechStop, because this is actually federally funded, and TechStop is responsible for the funds, so they want to make sure that cities know how to manage those funds. We're estimating that they could move dirt, the project team, early 2025, and we feel pretty confident with that. If you guys are aware, there was a water line that went through Katy Trail, and that's all been prepped. So we're actually already pretty much prepped for the project. And on a positive note, we have a provisional crossing in place right now. So there's an old trestle bridge that was deemed unsafe, where people couldn't walk across that on phase 2 of the Katy Trail. So we have a bypass now with signage and barriers. People can utilize phase 2 of Katy Trail right now. It's a soft surface trail, so it is available to the public. We've also implemented additional artwork out there. Most recently, it was the Courtwright family and Crawley family, with the work being done by Casney Studios. The backyard, another cool area, just keeps growing and growing. We've fortunately had some community partners that have been excited to invest. That's at Waterloo Pool. We've added more concrete equipment, so the foosball, 2 chess tables, an additional cornhole area, and then seating and grill. And real quick story, Chip happened to actually be in East Texas, and he overheard someone talking about the backyard in Denison. So his ears perked up, he introduced himself, but people are actually traveling over here, and they find the outdoor pickleball area to be, an exciting attraction. We're also looking to make enhancements there with lighting and then a fence to go around the court. It seems like that's been a pretty big demand from that community. Waterloo Fountain, that's going again. By the way, have you guys seen the social media post with the catfish?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, get on social media. It's huge. I think it was they had estimated 70 to 80 pounds caught in the lake. That post, which we didn't boost or market, has been the highest attended, or I don't know what you call it, but there's been more eyes on it and sharing of that post than any other activity or marketing thing we've ever done in Parks and Recreation. So it's pretty neat. So we replaced the fountain. Really, all things considered, we need the oxygen to keep the fish alive, and there's more things to that. So we needed to replace the fountain. And for those of you that may not be anglers, we are in the top 5 in the amount of rainbow trout stocked in Texas, public waters during the winter season. We're also the top percentage of all Texas communities with number of events in conjunction with stocking, number 1 based on community size. We have a flourishing fishing community. It's one of those things, I think it often gets overlooked, but this is one of the hot spots. People will come to go fishing. Jones shade structure, we felt it was important that kids could go on the equipment and not get burned and hurt. There's a lot of reasons for that, obviously, and that's been appreciated by our community. We've had some practice, Katy soccer. We've had some improvements there. We have lights, 10 total, that illuminate a field and a half, 6 new goals. We try to line the fields fairly often. 2 new drinking fountains. There's also provisions that will allow for enhanced irrigation in the future if we need to do so. And then we've had some drainage and parking improvements as well. That's going to be a long-term endeavor. If we ever get a lot of funds, we'd love to really invest in that park. Munson Disc Golf, we've had improvements there. There's an industry leader by the name of H.B. Clark. He actually designed the course, so our course in particular is it's special to him. But he's let us know that based on the metrics they have with the app that is in that industry, their best estimation, because only 20% of people actually put their statistics in the app, we've had 20,000 rounds and 5,000 participants at Munson Disc Golf. Players from 27 states, including Sweden, played. Over 100 came from over 150 miles away. So likely eating or staying the night to play the course. So there's potentially more visitation than even the numbers show. But we've made some improvements there with those areas because of how important it is for our tourism. There's also some other things that have happened and some things we're projecting in the future at Munson. So right now there's an additional 2.5 miles of soft surface trails that are just north of the baseball fields. You could utilize those immediately. We're looking to put some wayfinding signs out there as well. Once again, this has also been appreciated by our hiking and biking community. And so those are some pictures of individuals using them right now. Calling this Munson Sports, this is probably just going to kind of evolve and turn into different things over the years. But Munson is a pretty vast park. There's a lot of space there. We've converted a field, so it used to be a baseball field solely, into a multi-purpose field. So you could play soccer out there. People have played flag football out there. There's a lot of usage. It's lit, so it's a gym. Sometimes people are trying to find fields and they're like, oh, where can I go? Well, Munson is usually available. Also, I mentioned this before, we're hoping to go to RFP late spring, maybe early summer now, to get a college-size outdoor basketball court there. And just to explain this the best way I can, so you have the full court college basketball court. Well, that court can be divided to where you have 2 smaller full courts, so 6 hoops total, and you could play games however you'd like to play out there. THF parking, I do need to make y'all aware, we're also going to council. It's been recommended to reject basically the RFPs that came in, the bids that came in, and we're going to go out to RFP again. I try to look at the silver line of everything. We need parking out there. We've coordinated pretty well with our providers, but we just need to do this better. And the good thing is, if we could get it done towards later, then we also don't have to worry about other programs being out there while we do the parking. That's not the reason we did this, but I am looking at the silver lining here, and we're pretty comfortable. We're confident we'll get better invitations when we go out again for the RFP. We're doing our pre-emergent program. This is year 2, Chip? Year 2. So there's certain areas that get the pre-emergence, and we're going to expand upon those areas. This is really in an effort to save money. Getting back to bids, inflation, we're dealing with this in all areas of parks and recreation. I'm sure many of you are in different industries you're in. Our bids, I think, came over for, we do our fields, we do our utility areas, we do beautification areas. Citywide, there's mowing that Parks oversees. And overall, between all the different areas of mowing, $218,000 high over what we have budgeted. So Parks is doing everything we can. We're gonna have to manage those mowing cycles the best we can. Within that, the pre-emergents are gonna be huge because it's gonna prevent the best we can that overgrowth from happening. But as many of you know, it's gonna take time for that to catch. So we feel as the years ensue, it'll just be better and better each and every year.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Are we still contracting mowing in the parks, or is the city doing that now?
More than, yeah, we contract more
Still
than the parks.
contract?
Yeah, absolutely. And that may be something over the years. We've gone back and forth over the years. Prior to me and Chip being here, and then even Chip being here, it's really where we could get most bang for our buck. But our park staff does have mowers, so our teams will be sent out as needed to mow. It's just, you know, we do that when we can amongst all the other activities. Yeah, great question. We've fortunately we were able to get a lot of equipment this year, and wanted to let you know we're putting it to good use. Just to give you guys an idea, a job that may have taken us 4 hours to do certain things now may take us closer to 45 minutes in certain cases. But we were without some equipment for a long time, and we're still gonna be probably requesting other equipment this upcoming year, but this year we made a pretty big leap in some of those requests we had in years past, and that's across the board. Thanks. Storage was also a need for us. This is our park maintenance shop. We didn't have adequate shelving over there for many years. It's been the same with the cemetery. That's been able to be very helpful to add the equipment and the additional cubic square footage. The little things, they go a long way. Give me the next one, please, Virginia. I think my battery died. We're gonna just flip through these real fast. So as I had mentioned, there's other things going on in Parks and Recreation. Fortunately, we have other advisories we could work with on that, but that is also under the Parks and Recreation umbrella. So I'm not gonna go into the details here, but if we could spend maybe a second on each of the next slides. Record management, the cemetery fence, SemSite's new software at the cemetery, renovation of the Mulberry Bridge, staff created a new trailer out there. The library, we've had some additional structural work. And that's that. Staff and I are available for any questions.
Hey, what's the timetable on the lights at the pickleball?
We were just talking about that. It's varied, but Chip, do you want to come up and speak to that? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and Council. Have met out there recently, and most recently as of today, putting together the final plan for where fencing and lighting is going to go out at the pickleball courts. This is going to happen as they're separate projects, but we're going to have them all under construction at one time, just to have it come in and get done, and not have the two separate start and stop constructions. We should have quotes and be able to proceed by April, and I really anticipate this project being to completion, graded back out in early May is what our anticipation is, depending on some contractor schedules. But this is it's a relatively small project, small fence. We're adding 3 light poles, 2 of which will be on the pickleball courts, bolted directly to the concrete, and then we will have a third light that will be between the cornhole area and the ping pong area, which will have lights going off both directions, just illuminating those. The lighting will have a timer that will not be able to be reached by the public, which will only energize the switches during hours that we choose. So generally, I'm just going to say roughly 5 p.m. until, let's say 10 p.m. The timer will allow lights to be on. They won't necessarily be on. So when users go out, the lights will be off. And if they go to turn a light on between that set time, say 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., the lights will work. Oftentimes our park users forget to turn lights off. That's why we're going to have the timer on. So come 10 o'clock, we're not going to just have lights burning all night long. So did that answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome.
I had one more question on disc golf.
Yeah.
The numbers that you had for the rounds and the participants, is that lifetime or is that last year?
That was, yeah, great question. That was last year, so it'd be calendar year
Okay,
2023.
awesome.
How many years has that been out there now?
Yeah,
I think 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, so I'll get with our experts. I could get extra data if you'd like. Additional this weekend.
I think it was created in 2012 or 13. Started in 12 and finished maybe in 13, so it's been there 10 years.
Oh, okay.
The entire course. And gained popularity probably after about 2 years, and now more so to where there's the app, and it is tracked, and people are ranked worldwide, and they use our course to rank them if you're playing. It's a course that you can actually gain a rank, and when you show up to a course in Scotland and you're playing disc golf, whatever you scored at Bunsen, that's going to affect your score. So it's a really cool setup that they have now.
interesting. All right. Anybody else? All right, thank y'all. Guess that's it for today. Meeting adjourned.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.